Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren. Hello, Lauren.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Today is the 50th podcast.
Happy podcast, happy golden podcast anniversary.
Happy half-century podcast.
It only feels like a half century.
Man, you're something. You're really something.
You can pull that out.
Mm-hmm. Instagram. You can find us on Instagram. It's Wilder Show Pod. On Instagram, it just strikes me I didn't post anything on the last podcast.
On Instagram?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Maybe you can catch up.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you can post a picture of our empty juice bottles.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Is that on your scatter shoot list? We got to do that today.
It is.
It can be.
Yeah.
If you want to send us email, just email podcast@wildershow.com. Podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops on Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and, all the things.
All the things.
Mm-hmm. Or wherever you get your podcasts. So like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. And we thank you for that. Yeah, it's our 50th podcast. There are some people that have had 40,000 podcasts.
Oh, I know.
We only do twice a week, though.
Mm-hmm.
But an awful lot of people. It's sort of like playing golf. In golf, the percentage of people who have never broken 100 is 85% of the people who play golf.
Really?
Have never broken 100. And 93% of the people have never broken 90.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a huge percentage.
And they just keep playing.
Yeah, just keep playing.
They just play. They play for the love of it, for the sheer enjoyment,
that's right.
for the fellowship, the camaraderie, the practice.
And in a weird way, I saw a statistic. The percentage of people who start a podcast and never do more than, something like 4 episodes.
So we beat that.
Well, it goes to kind of what we've talked about before. Everybody says, I think everybody has at least one book in them. We say, no, I've met a lot of people. They don't.
They don't.
And I don't either, by the way. But but in the same way, not everybody has. You may have a really cool idea of doing something like a podcast. And then you look up and go, I don't know, it's kind of a hassle.
Maybe just getting started isn't the hardest part.
Yeah. Oh, it's not. Yeah.
Maybe it's the continuing that's the hardest part.
Yes. The working every day, diligently finding those things. I have a little Trump dump we have to do. It's not really that because it really is. It's big news. It's Iran and Israel. Man, you're watching this, right?
I am.
Well, the latest, and again, everything can change because everything changes. The latest, as of this sitting, is that Trump is giving another 2-week delay about whether or not he will strike Iran. You say Iran or Iran? What do you say? Was it Iran?
Iran.
Iran. Okay. Yeah, Iran.
That's what I say. I don't know if that's right.
Well,
I don't know.
This is the thing. Trump is asking, I think, some of the wrong questions, maybe even some of the wrong people. Among the things, according to reports, that he's asking is, can I maybe just strike once or twice and then not get into a war? Now, the reason Israel has not been able to sort of close this out, because they're committed, they're going to do something. They're going to do all that they can do. But the reason why they haven't done it is because they can't do it. It takes, not remember the old Moab, the mother of all bombs? The Moab. This is actually bigger than the Moab. This is the Bunker Buster bomb.
Oh, yeah.
It's 35,000 pounds. A 35,000-pound bomb. And according to tests and reports, it can go up to 200 feet below the surface.
I've heard that.
250 feet, I think, below the surface.
Practically,
it's
incomprehensible.
It obliterates everything on top of the earth, and it drills down and blows stuff up. Well, we're the only ones that have it. We have it. And it can't be delivered by an F-16, F-35. It can't be delivered that way. It's got to be delivered by a B-1, B-2, or B-52 bomber. One of those big, really heavy winged things. Really? Yeah. And they always have, fighter jets around it to protect it as it goes to where it's going. Well, we're the only ones that have that. So if it's going to happen, it's got to be us. And now the question is, does America get involved in this at that level? But one of the things that, when President Trump says, sort of, could I maybe just be a little pregnant? Could I maybe just get a little bit in the war, just enough to win it and then be out of it? And the answer is no. Because while I think Israel has done a good job of what they've done, what they haven't been able to do is take out the possibility of other strikes by Iran to other bases. We have bases in Iraq. There are U.S. bases in Iraq. Mm-hmm. All it would take after dropping the big bomb or 2 bombs or 3 bombs on that mountain, all it would take is for Iran to say, okay, boom, boom, and boom. And you're killing U.S. servicemen and women. Soldiers are going to die there. Mm-hmm. And watch the mood change in this country mm-hmm. dramatically mm-hmm. against having gone in there and assisted Israel. So that is one of the things that is a real problem. This is all about destroying the nuclear threat that Iran poses. And it's also about regime change.
Yeah.
But the real problem remember the last time we were involved, or one of the times we were involved in regime change from without? I mean, the best regime change is from within.
Sure.
Let the people decide who their leaders are going to be and let them remove them. That is in part, I think, why, according to my theory, why Trump told Netanyahu, don't take out Khomeini or whatever his name is, the Grand Poobah of Iran. Don't take him out.
Let the people do it.
That's right. Let the people remove him as their leader. But that's not something we want to be a part of doing. In part, it could be, look back, Saddam, right? Saddam Hussein?
Yeah.
Okay, so Saddam goes away. Hey, this is great. Saddam is no longer there. Fantastic. Oh, whoops. Guess who took over? The Ba'ath Party. Remember mm-hmm. Bathe? The Ba'ath Party took over. Oh, and then what did that become? Oh, Al-Qaeda. And then what did that become? It became the Islamic State. So there are these sort of unintended consequences that happen when regime change comes from without. Mm-hmm. If the people in the country change their regime, then it's more likely the governance, the governing that goes on is going to reflect a real change.
Yeah.
Not just a change in the person at the top, but a change in the theory of the whole thing.
Why is that so hard to achieve?
I don't know. I mean, everybody, first of all, media controls a lot. The people of Iran know what the government of Iran tells them. Mm-hmm. Now you have
and nothing else. You mean?
Well,
very little else.
People have access to more than that now. In the old days, it really was a deal where some of those countries they only knew. Well, North Korea is the best example. They really do, even today, only know what their government tells them. Mm-hmm. Everything is blocked off. There's no radio, there's no TV, nothing, and so it only is what they tell you that it is. It is nothing other than that. But in other countries, obviously, these westernized or Western-friendly countries, they have access to TikTok and YouTube and the internet and all these things. So they're going to know things. Mm-hmm. People don't want change. They don't want change. We don't want somebody else deciding who our next president's going to be. We'll decide who that's mm-hmm. going to be. We don't allow other people to tell who our leaders are. And I think likewise, people in other countries, they don't want to be told who their leaders should be. And I don't think we should either. Be clear, I'm not for regime change from without. I don't think we should have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
Now, we can do everything else. You can eliminate all the other people around the Grand Poobah, as far as I'm concerned, but not him.
This might sound like a really stupid question. Does he not then just have the ability to raise up new people to fill those places?
Sure.
And then you're right back in the same place where you were before.
Yeah.
And this is not a call for regime change from without either. I'm just curious.
Well, one of the things is as those pawns come off the board, mm-hmm. there are fewer people interested in doing those jobs.
Oh, yeah.
If you saw the strategic strikes that Israel did, the IDF did, and Mossad has done, these people at the top, there's no way they should have even known where they were. One of the cases was a guy who wasn't even normally where he wasn't even where he normally was. He was somewhere else, mm-hmm. and somehow Israel knew it, and they targeted him, and boom, over. So that is where we are today. There's not going to be a big change, I don't think, in any of this for a week or so. Although Israel might say, we're not waiting, man.
Yeah.
We're not going to wait. I kind of wish we could just loan them the big bomb and the B1 or B2 or the B-52s. Just give it to them on a loan, like an Uber, like it's like an Uber for the weekend.
Would that make us less?
Well, we're culpable.
Yeah, I don't want to say responsible, but I mean, would it make us seem less involved if we did that?
I think so. I do, because it's not our people doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We are not doing it. We're providing the tools.
Yeah.
We're already providing jets and some of the fighter jets. Those are American.
Mm-hmm.
Those pilots that are in there, while they're not Americans, they're trained in many cases by Americans to fly those jets, those fighter jets. Just like there is something about being boots on the ground. Boots on the ground is a higher culpability than just air. And air, if you're in charge of it, is higher than just providing the weapons.
Right.
So I think, provide the weapons. If that's the consensus, then you provide the weapons. But I'm not for any boots on the ground, obviously. And I'm really not for Americans doing anything, I don't think, unless our men and women or our bases or our personnel are attacked unprompted by Iran. And if they did, then it's game on. And this time, look, we've been talking about no nuclear weapons for Iran since Jimmy Carter.
Right.
Think about that for a second. Since 1972, we've been talking about, we got to, and what have we done about it? Well, we have IAEA, International Atomic Energy Commission or whatever, and they go make the inspections, and Iran fakes us out, and then later we find that, they've lost more than they said they had. They are way more advanced than they let on. And then sanctions, and you freeze assets. It's like, okay, if we're, and this is what Israel is saying, we are actually serious about getting this done. They, meaning Iran, they have said it is their goal in life to take us out as a people. We are not going to sit by and wonder how close they are today, tomorrow, this week to a nuclear weapon. We're not going to do it. And we're going to take them out. They're doing the best they can, but at some point, it seems to me you'd run out of weapons. Anyway, that is a little, not really a Trump dump, but it is an update on that. Remember the Scott Peterson case? I know you do.
Oh, yes, I do.
The Scott Peterson case, and it was a little Lacey and little Connor, and I'm not going to retread the whole thing, but everybody remembers the Scott Peterson case and Lacey Peterson and little Connor. Remember when we were on the air, I think at that time, and I remember saying on the air to you, posing this question as the jury was deliberating his fate, and maybe I posed it on the air. Okay, we're going to have a decision here in a bit. What is the worst thing that could happen? What's the worst thing that could happen? And many people would say, well, the worst thing that could happen is if a guilty man goes free.
Gotcha.
That's the worst thing. This guy has done this murder, and the worst thing that could happen is if a guilty guy goes free. But it's not.
It's not that.
That's not the worst thing. Our system is set up that the worst thing is not if a guilty person is free. It's if an innocent person is found guilty.
Correct.
And so I bring that up because I have to say a word because I've been obsessed for a while with the Karen Read case. The Karen Read results are in. She was found not guilty on most of the charges and faces, I'm sure, no time for the one that she was found guilty for, which was operating, we might call it DUI or DWI. They call it in that state, Commonwealth, In that Commonwealth, they call it OUI.
Okay.
Operating under the influence,
Gotcha.
which I guess could apply also to boats or something else, bikes or something. Anyway, she was found guilty of that, but that was it. And so John O'Keefe, his family believes the person responsible for his death, if you don't say the murderer, the person responsible for his death is free.
So Phil,
and it can never be tried again.
fill me in. So they said that she did indeed hit him, but she didn't mean to, or she had nothing to do with it at all.
See, the thing is that those weren't the questions they were asked. They were asked if she committed second-degree murder.
Okay.
And what I believe, by hitting him with her car.
Okay.
I believe that they overcharged. And I believe the jury, while they did declare her not guilty, and I haven't seen any of the polls of the jurors or any interviews with the jurors or anything, I believe they probably were really concluding that the prosecution did not clear the bar.
Okay.
No pun intended. The prosecution did not meet the standard beyond a reasonable doubt. But they came back and said, no, she is not guilty on second-degree murder, which would have been intentionally ramming him with the car and killing him. There was another count of leaving the scene of an accident, and another count of something else. She's found not guilty on all of those,
Wow.
except for the operating under the influence. So, I don't know. It's probably unfair to me to say, although I do feel somewhat like an expert, Lauren.
Well, what is it? What is it about certain cases that grab people's attention?
That's a good
like
question.
This?
Well, it's I think part of it was she was an attractive defendant. Something like an attractive defendant or an attractive victim, Lacey Peterson.
Yeah.
Or a horrific crime. There's some little spikes in there probably is a metric for it. I'll tell you the next big one that the people who watch trials are going to.
That will be on over my shoulder.
They will be paying attention to is the Idaho student murders.
Oh, yeah.
And that is big. And I think it's coming up in, I think they gave me a month off, and
no,
it's coming up in August.
That I can kind of understand because it's gotten so much publicity already. But I don't remember hearing anything about Karen Reed before the trial started. I don't remember that story being a big deal. Or there was like with the Idaho thing, there was a manhunt and this horrific crime and multiple victims, and clearly it wasn't an accident. It was
murder.
Horrible. Yeah.
I think with Karen Reed, I think part of it was there has been a bit of controversy with the Boston Police Department. And so the suggestion early on, which they never proved, but they made a big deal out of it early on, was that it was a conspiracy. That John O'Keefe, who was a Boston police officer, was at the home of these other Boston police officers. And there was a fight, and John O'Keefe was killed and left in the snow in front of this house. And that this whole blue wall of silence, the police officers so dedicated to each other that they would never do anything but protect their own. Somehow they're not so dedicated they wouldn't kill one of their own. That never made sense to me.
Well,
but anyway,
you might have just brought something up that was overlooked at trial.
Yeah. I think that they didn't have that. They threw that out there as a red herring. It got people crazy. It got them a lot of media attention. And then she did all these interviews. I don't know where they're going to go with this. There is going to be, and I'm not going to watch it, I don't think. There is going to be probably a civil suit.
He's going to watch it.
Yeah, probably so. There is going to be a civil suit where the family, it's sort of like the O.J. thing. O.J. got away with murder. Some people, allegedly. And
some people say.
And then, of course, there was a civil suit. So she's out there, doing all these interviews, and I'm sure going to write a book or do whatever. And the family of John O'Keefe will probably go after her, and I hope they do. I hope they do go after her. I think she's culpable. I think she was involved. I think it was, she even said in an interview that I hit him, I looked back, and I was wondering, is he okay? It's like, what?
She said that in an interview with...
There were 3 interviews. There were 3. One was IDF, or ID, what it was called, IDTV, whatever it is.
Okay.
Independent Discovery Television or something. One was with... how do you know all this? And one was with Dateline, and one was on ABC on 2020.
She's done a Dateline in a 2020 already?
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's what the big controversy was. She was doing this while the trial was going on.
I'm way behind.
Oh, you missed it. I mean, really, it was a remarkable thing. But then what happened was in the second trial, actually, she did it between the two trials. The first ended as a mistrial. Second one, but between those two, she went out and did interviews. Mm-hmm. And of course, they're not under oath.
Yeah.
Right. And then guess what happened? The prosecutor plays clips of her from these interviews in the second trial. Mm-hmm. And so it was a mess. I feel bad I love the prosecutor, second guy, good guy. I mean, I enjoyed the job that he did. Very meticulous, very logical, not emotional at all. Very almost robot-like. Hard to imagine what I liked about it. But it was so there you go. That's the deal. So she's off. She can never be tried again. Criminally, she cannot be tried again. And I only watched one interview. I mean, once it was over, I turned it off. Like my team in hockey lost the game. I'm not watching the afterglow. I'm not going to watch the other team hoist the trophy.
Yeah.
Not going to watch it. I didn't. But I did later, a couple of days later, maybe a day later, I saw an interview with like one of the friends of John O'Keefe. He was just sick. He was just like, I can't believe it. I mean, trying to get justice for John, and
so basically they're saying we don't know. We don't. They're holding no one accountable.
Well, they're not like OJ still looking for the killer.
Right.
But
did she say that? Did she say I'll spend the rest of my life looking for for John's killer?
No. But what she did say is no one has done more to seek justice for John O'Keefe than I have. That's what she said on the courthouse steps as she spoke to all those crazy people in pink.
Is that true?
Do I think that's true?
Vast amount of knowledge?
No, it's not true. She's just saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. Delays on planes. You ever been on a plane flight where things were delayed?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And do they usually tell me this, Lauren? I don't know much from traveling. Do they ever just tell you initially, hey, you know what? Yeah, we're not going off. We're not taking off. Or do they kind of space out?
No, they say you're delayed by 15 minutes. And then, oops, it's going to be another 15 minutes.
And then you leave the restaurant, go to the gate, and they go, if I'd known, I wouldn't have left the restaurant.
Yeah. Or if I'd known, I wouldn't have gotten up at 4:30 this morning to get on a plane at 6 or to get to the airport at 6. Yeah, if I knew that it was going to be delayed that long.
It was something like that. We had one that was delayed like 6 or 7 hours. Yeah. All of a sudden, shoved to the very end of the day.
It moved from morning until late afternoon. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it was delayed beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of what Donald Trump's doing with TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
The TikTok ban. You know, there was a TikTok ban he put in place, made a big deal out of it, TikTok. And then he rescued it. I like TikTok. And he rescued TikTok and gave it an extension, like a 90-day extension. Because, we won't ban it now. We're going to seek a new owner. And maybe Elon would buy it or somebody else would buy it. It could be owned in America by an American. Well, he has just given his, sort of like the plane, he has just given his third extension.
Is it another?
It's another 90-day extension. So, kids, you got 90 more days to do all your things, all your nonsense,
dances,
do all your dances,
learn all your stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to make me up some good dances. I don't have TikTok. I've never done TikTok. I've seen things that are fed to you that were originated on TikTok that then they end up showing on whatever else, YouTube or whatever. But I've never done it. Never had it.
Me either.
Yeah, I know some people make good money doing it.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, even not just nonsense and foolishness. Like people, somebody was refinishing furniture or something, and they became a big business.
I think there are plenty of legitimate business people who use it for those types of things. I don't think that's how it started.
No.
Though I think the first time I ever became aware of TikTok was TikTok dances, and you got to learn the dance, and then you do the dance, and you post yourself doing the dance, and everybody's doing the same dance. And not so much.
And the Ice Bucket Challenge, was that a big...
that was an Instagram thing a long time ago, but I think I think that just sort of started getting brought back up again for something else too.
Interesting.
You can tell I'm a vast source of knowledge on social media.
Big consumer of social media. Enjoy the TikTok for at least 90 more days.
I think they do call it the TikTok.
Do they really?
The TikTok.
Yeah.
No, it's just TikTok.
Oh, TikTok.
Yeah. Okay. Did I ever tell you that I don't have it anymore? Martina Navratilova's autograph.
No. What was the occasion that brought that about?
It was many, many decades ago, many years ago, when there were these things called records, and you bought them in record stores. And I worked at a record store in a mall near my home.
I think I remember this story.
And Martina Navratilova came in one evening with Nancy Lieberman.
Okay.
And they were shopping together. And those of us who were there working noticed right away that these were people that we recognized. And Martina Navratilova kind of stayed away from, it seemed like maybe she was not. Nancy Lieberman, very friendly, signed autographs. Martina Navratilova stayed a little bit further away. But she did, in fact, then come through the line, and she bought her things. And I don't remember.
Some Milk Duds.
I don't remember what. Well, we didn't sell. We
fruit.
didn't sell that at the record store. We didn't sell milk candy at the, maybe some album-shaped bubble gum for a while, but we never had the point of purchase candy like that. And then she signed her credit card slip, which was something you still had to do at the time.
Yeah, sure.
And then she also signed a few autographs
that's
for
cool.
us. So I was just reading today that Martina Navratilova said that she would not, if she were leaving home now, like she did 50 years ago from Czechoslovakia, she would not choose America.
She wouldn't choose America?
She wouldn't choose America anymore. Well, but she said, I wouldn't have left home for Trump's America.
Whatever.
I'd pick someplace else to go. She did an interview with the BBC.
Can I ask you a question right now?
Yeah.
Where does she live now?
I think she still lives in America.
Okay, so why don't you get out of Trump's America? If you wouldn't come to Trump's America, why would you? Yeah, look her up.
Let's pause.
No, I'm going to keep going while you're looking that up. If she wouldn't come to, and she may not live here.
She does still live in the U.S. She is a dual citizen of the United States and of Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, she's and her third residency is she's a phony, because I'll tell you, if she really meant that, she would get out,
go someplace else.
Well, I don't know why you wouldn't. It's like saying, now it's one thing if she was really saying, and I'm not saying you don't understand the story. I haven't seen the story. But if she was saying, I would not have been allowed to come into the country because I didn't meet the standards of XXXXX or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a different complaint, and I would even listen to that.
Well, that is one of her complaints. Now, oddly, though, you might remember she has sided with the president in her belief that the inclusion of trans women in women's tennis is wrong. So she is not, it's not like all everything that he says or does is wrong. But on this, and this was all, questions about the immigration and.
I just don't understand that it's not malpractice, because it's not who was the interviewer?
It's the BBC.
Okay, BBC. It's like journalistic malpractice. If you're interviewing Martina Navratilova, and if she says, if I were picking a place to live right now, I would not pick Donald Trump's America. If you're a decent interviewer or any kind of interviewer, the immediate thing you ask is, but you live there now. Aren't you choosing every day to go to or to live in Donald Trump's America?
That's not what can I tell you what they did ask?
What?
They asked if she was worried that in the current political climate, she could lose her citizenship.
Of course they asked that. Yeah, it's silly. That's just silly. That's just nonsense,
It's
really.
Ashita Nagesh for BBC News.
Oh, it is time for Scattershoot.
Oh, let's go.
Wilder Show Scattershoot. This is where all the things that didn't make it in the first part fall. They all fall in here. It's kind of like when you open the door of the car and an empty cup falls out.
Well, that doesn't make it sound very appealing.
No, I'm just kidding, of course.
But yes, that has happened to me. That happens to me often.
That's really irritating.
It's like the stuff that, you try to shove into the closet, but it's just sticking out, and you've got to either try to shove it in there again, and if it won't go, you just got to pull it out and find someplace else to shove it.
You just got to lean on that door a little more. Twist the knob just so. We are in the middle of as of this taping, we are in the middle of a juice fast.
We're actually a little bit past the middle, which I'm counting.
Are you glad for that? You've done it before. I'd never done it before. And just to reflect on why. You said something about wanting to do it, but you didn't know if you would finish it or whatever. And I said, yeah, I'll do it with you.
I just thought it might be easier, if we both did it.
You post that, I guess.
We spend time working together, and it would have, selfishly, it would have been hard for me to watch you eat food while I didn't.
And that I think it was you. You said, if you would do it. How have you
found?
Actually,
I don't think I even had to ask. I think you
that's right.
you just volunteered.
I'll do it with you. Can I ask you how it's been for you? Because this is my first time, and I'll give you my thoughts. But how is it? What are your thoughts about it? I mean, we won't tell the brand, but you tell your thoughts about how it's gone.
It's good. There are a couple
and what is it? What is it with the restrictions, and what could you do?
So it's for 2 full days.
Okay.
We haven't really I've had an avocado. You can have,
which is allowed.
Yeah, an avocado is allowed. Unsalted almonds are okay, but I didn't have any of those, so I haven't eaten any of those.
Okay.
You can have herbal tea, but you can't have coffee. You can't have caffeine.
Okay.
And nothing other than it is a juice cleanse, a juice fast. That's all. That's all you can have.
So how have you found it?
I don't really. I feel I've got a little bit of a caffeine headache. I think not terrible, but I don't feel desperately hungry, which I really kind of thought I would, but I don't think I did last time either.
Interesting.
I feel the worst part I think is just I don't like the taste of a couple of them.
Yeah.
But I can choke it back and get through it. How do you feel?
Okay, let me tell you. Here's my review. I have eaten nothing.
Not even an avocado.
No, I haven't had anything to eat in 40 hours, something like that.
Yeah, probably pretty close to 48 by now, right?
48 hours. Have had only juice, and it's got to be a certain kind of juice, and a lot of water. A lot of water, but nothing to eat. I did have 1 cup of herbal tea, but I've had nothing else and nothing to eat. And I got to tell you, I'm not. Could I eat something? Absolutely. Take me to a Mexican place or whatever.
It's not the hunger. It's like the comfort, the idea of the food and the taste of the food and the sitting down at the table to eat the food.
Yes, I know. But just the physical, it didn't bother me. And I don't really care I would say how bad something tastes, because it didn't taste really that bad, but it might not be the kind of thing that you'd want to have. It's like grass. It's got stuff in it. It's a little
bit like grass.
It's like grass.
Like grass that doesn't taste very good.
No, it's like that. But I just make it really cold, and is it 16 ounces? I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I drink, you've seen me do it. I drink probably 8 to 10 ounces immediately.
Just right away.
I mean, I just guzzle it all, and I figure it's fuel. It's not fun. It's not food. It's just fuel. And so I'm going to take it, and then I put the other part back in the fridge, and I kill the rest of it. Just totally take it all the way down. I don't feel hungry. Like I said, I could eat, of course, but it is more all the things. That's one of the things that I've found surprising was the stuff, even of a couple of days that you miss has really nothing to do with the way food tastes. It has to do with the hunt. You open the fridge.
So, really?
For me, it does. Open the fridge and go, what am I going to get? What's in here? What tastes good? Ooh, I just saw some cheese. I like cheese. I opened the fridge and it was like, okay. That I said everything I said out loud to you. I said everything in here is calling my name, but not because I was hungry. So I don't mind it. I don't know what good it's going to do. But I could see doing this on a regular basis. I could see. It's only 2 days. I know you could do 3 or 4 days.
You could. I think you could do as many as 5.
I think 3 is about the most I'd want to do. Because it'd be in the middle of the week. Do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then go take your sleeping bag to El Phoenix for Friday into Saturday into Sunday.
You said something a minute ago too about how you look at the bottles of juice as just fuel.
Yeah.
And I think there are people who eat just for the fuel of it.
Well, I think
and that
true.
is so far outside of my relationship with food.
Well, when I was in a mood to drop some pounds, that was exactly what I only saw it as fuel. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter what it was just fuel. And so you put the fuel in that has the best chance to get you furthest down the road, and you're not worried about anything else. That's all that matters is fuel. And, but I've done that a couple of times. But,
I think it's meant to, one of the things it's meant to do is kind of reset your diet.
I think that's good.
Help with the cravings for things that are not good for you. Yeah.
I'm sorry about your headache. I'm good. I, of course, am naturally caffeinated, so I don't need caffeine. Mm-hmm. I told you before we started, I said, I don't think it's going to be a problem for me with caffeine.
Yeah, good for you.
And anyways, your head's okay now?
It is. It's okay now. It's okay now. Mm-hmm. Speaking of beverages and speaking of coffee in particular, this is a little bit related to something we talked about a couple of weeks ago, but it turns out there are even more benefits, even more good news about drinking coffee. It could be the key to staying as strong as we want as we age. So there's a new study that was published in the European Journal of Nutrition that says regularly drinking, get this, 4 to 6 cups of coffee a day has been linked with a reduced risk of frailty. So that means bone health and balance and things like that, things that will keep you from being injured as you age. So the caffeine content acts as something that it's an adenosine receptor antagonist, which means that it helps reduce fatigue and enhance alertness. Duh, didn't we know that already? Right. I didn't even need the bone health stuff. I just need the reducing fatigue and enhancing alertness. But caffeine can also improve muscle movement. Then that supports your mobility and reduces weakness. So, okay, now you have to be sure to be able to balance this out too, right? Okay, so this study says 6 cups are good for, as many as 6 cups, 4 to 6 cups are good for staying strong. However, you have to remember that too much caffeine can include temporarily increased blood pressure.
That's true.
Heart rate, palpitations, anxiety, agitation, nausea, the headache. Sleep disturbance, all the things that I just mentioned. So you have to make sure that you're doing the right thing for you. If you have a problem with those things, with the increased heart rate and blood pressure and all those things, you have to everything in moderation. So maybe don't worry that you're those 2, 3, 4 cups of coffee a day could really be helping.
Could be okay.
Another question that you might have. Yeah. So if I'm drinking the coffee and that's keeping my bones healthy and increasing my my muscle function, do I still have to exercise?
Of course
you
not.
do. No, of course you do.
You do.
Of course you do. Regular physical activity will continue to improve strength, endurance, and your body's ability to function well. But in the meantime, have that cup of coffee, have a second, have a third, and feel really good about it. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow morning. Not now, because I can't have any coffee now. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to do that.
Luka has a new boss. Did you see that?
No.
Luka Doncic?
Did you see? No, I didn't.
The LA Lakers were sold this week.
I didn't know that.
The Buss family. The Buss family bought the Lakers in 1979. They've owned the Lakers all these years. 46 years
now? It's a long time.
46 years they've owned the Lakers. And they sold the Lakers, the LA Lakers, LeBron, Luka, and the gang, to TWG Global CEO Mark Walter. He's the guy that owns the Dodgers. I don't know the Dodgers.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? He owned the Dodgers and the LA Lakers. But here's what I thought was really wild. The Buss family sold the Lakers for $10 billion. $10 billion.
$10 billion.
But they bought it for $67.5 million.
No way.
$67.5 million in 1979. And sold it this week for $10 billion. Do you know what percentage increase that is?
What?
14,814% increase over that time span, or an average of an increase of 322% increase per year.
Man.
For 46 years.
It's a pretty good deal.
Man. So anyway,
so
Luca's got a new boss. And they're saying they're going to keep the bus. What's the woman's name? Who's
Jeannie?
Jeannie. They're going to keep Jeannie Buss there in a position of power, and that is what Mark Cuban thought, right?
Oh.
Mark Cuban sold it. They told him he was going to stay in a position of power, and he found out with the rest of us about the Luka trade.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't. Jeannie ought to go ahead and be clearing her stuff out. $10 billion for the L.A. Lakers.
Speaking of money and speaking of sports, did you watch last year? There was a show on Netflix. I think it was a 7-episode documentary. I think we talked about it at the time. America's Sweethearts.
What is it about?
It's all about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. It was a bigger deal.
I missed it. I didn't catch it.
Well, you could go back and watch it now if you wanted to. I didn't think that I would love it either. I don't consider myself a huge Dallas Cowboy. I did.
What did you like about it?
I did. It was the stories of the young women who were trying out, and some who had tried out several years and were coming back, like maybe for a second or third time to try again. Or you're never guaranteed your spot. So once you're in, you try out again the next year, and you try out against all these new girls. You've got to earn your spot every year. And it was just something. They came from all over the place, all over the country. They had so many different stories, and it was just, I don't know. I just found it. It was only 7 episodes. I didn't have to watch it, for months and months to get the picture. But I did watch it, and I did enjoy it. Season 2 was just released on Netflix.
Okay.
When this drops, it will have been yesterday. So it's actually 2 days ago. Okay. Brand new, 7 new episodes, season 2. And what they revealed already is in the last episode. And now, no, this would be a spoiler if you don't want to read the news and you want to wait through all 7 episodes to find out what happens. But a big theme, apparently, of this second season was getting an increase in pay for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I think that it's widely known. It has been widely known for a long time that they get paid very little.
Right.
They spend a lot of time, lots of time rehearsing all of those things to get paid. Maybe I think at $200 or $400 a game. They all have other jobs, sometimes multiple jobs that they juggle to make ends meet when during the football season, especially. So what that brought attention. The Netflix documentary on such a big stage, so many people seeing this became aware of that, and it started to get a little more people were talking about it. I don't know if it was really weird. I don't know if it was pressure, but more people were kind of bringing attention to the fact that they were I would say underpaid.
Underpaid, yeah. I had a high school teacher in my high school that was at that time a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Oh, really?
And she wasn't my teacher, but it was. Yeah, it's not a good idea. If you want to be a teacher and a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
But I just think I'll just tell you, it was quite the distraction among
because everybody knew, and well, it was a distraction. She didn't wear her uniform to school, right?
No, but but it was just sort of a weird thing. It wasn't like, hey, that's cool. My teacher works part-time at the hamburger shop. Go by and see her at the hamburger shop. This was a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Right.
And young men, to pay particular attention to her. And I'm not sure that she was able to do her job the way she might have been able to. But that's all.
Gotcha.
But what was the raise up to? What are they making now?
It will be revealed in the last episode of the documentary that they got a 400% pay increase
400%.
Heading into the 2025 NFL season.
Okay.
Yep. It doesn't share exact figures, and it could be maybe that some make more than maybe you make more if you've been doing it for a couple of years.
Maybe.
I don't know. And there are other appearances and things like that you can do, public appearances where you might get paid a little extra.
Yeah. Calendar or whatever.
Things like that. But what they were really fighting for, arguing for, I don't know how you would characterize it, was for a pay increase.
Okay.
And they got it, 400%.
Good for them.
When was the last time you got a gift for failing something?
A gift for failing something.
Yeah, pretty valuable thing.
I would think that would be never.
I don't think I ever did either.
No.
Did any of your kids ever not pass a driver's test?
That is a good question. I don't. I think they all passed the driver's test, but one of mine didn't want to take it for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, not out of fear. They just like, I'll get to it at some point. It was like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I was a kid. That was on your birthday. You're finding a way down there.
You were there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know they all passed it.
Yeah. All of my kids passed it too. None of them took it right when they turned 16 either, but they did all pass it. So Uber has a gift for you as a parent if your teenager does not pass his or her driver's test. All you have to, you get them an Uber account, an Uber for Teens account, and you upload their failed driver's test.
Oh my goodness.
And then you can get rides for the summer. It's like over the course, 1 month of free rides during the summer. It's a maximum of 6 rides and a maximum of $20 per ride.
Oh my goodness!
But I was kind of thinking this as attached to something that we talked about last week. Maybe I don't even think that we talked about this on the podcast. Helicopter parenting.
Oh yeah.
And the whole thing about there's like a whole. It started, we used to talk about it when our kids were little, and now it turns out that parents don't want their teens, like a big percentage of parents don't want their teens to walk to a coffee shop. They don't want them to get themselves to school, that they don't trust them to be. It's not that they necessarily don't trust them.
They're afraid of everything.
They're afraid of everything,
yeah.
So I do kind of wonder how these two things will mesh.
Would a parent like that let their kid go out to an Uber and go somewhere? That's a good point.
I've heard of Uber Teen accounts.
Never heard of it.
Too. And I do kind of wonder how many people take advantage of that. If you're willing to put your kid, if you don't want your kid in a car with another 16-year-old driver, maybe, do you put your kid in a car with a
38-year-old stranger? Yeah.
So I don't know.
One thing we don't really have time for, we'll do it maybe next time. The ESA, you know what that is?
No.
The European Space Agency. This is according to the European Space Agency, a prediction. Life on Mars. Humans will live in these huge space, they call them a space oases, like oasis.
Yeah.
A space oases on Mars in just 15 years.
No way.
That's what I said. There's no way. So maybe next time on the Scott Wilder Show podcast in Scattershoot, remind me, Lauren, and we'll talk about life on Mars.
Okay.
On the next edition of the Wilder Show podcast. Instagram, find us on Instagram. Be Wilder Show Pod. If you want to send us an email, just email to podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. So like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. And thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time. Do